let's just have a moment for this little, it's a witch's brew. It has eyeballs in it. I got it at a farmer's market in Palm Springs. Shop small. I know it was a small artist. Go on Etsy and find some small artists to support this season. Hello everyone, welcome back to Livin Large with LCruu, the adventure vlog. I'm LCruu and we're always living large. We're out there, we're living life, we're doing things. Today I want to jump into the pros and cons of working at festivals. I've only done 2 of them, both within the last couple of months and both in different capacities. So I kind of just want to break down the pros and cons of working at a festival, what it's really like, and if it's worth it. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with the cons, or the things that are not as great, so that we can end on a high note. And my list is pretty short. This is gonna be a pretty quick video, I think. You all know that I could talk and talk and talk forever, but let's just dive right in. The first one I said is like responsibilities. Obviously, when you're working an event, you're going to have responsibilities. I just more so mean in the sense of like, because you have responsibilities, it's not as much of like a free time party, like fun getaway experience. I know that a lot of people go to festivals and events and live music for that kind of escape, that kind of like get away from normal life, blah, blah, blah. But that's kind of the opposite of what it's like working one. And that's okay with me because I don't go to festivals to escape. Of course I go to have fun, but working the festival, it's not just like a free-for-all. You have shifts, you have times you have to be places, you are representing the festival or the event or whatever that might be, and therefore you're on. Just like if you work at a place, they tell you, oh, don't wear your, I don't know, your work uniform or the shirt that says our company name when you're getting hammered at a bar. You know what I mean? Because you're representing that company. And so in that kind of way, having responsibilities kind of takes away that free-for-all type of mentality. Like, for example, at both of the festivals I worked, I had to be somewhere by 10 a.m. When Grace and I were teaching our workshops, we had some workshops at 10 a.m. And then this past time when I was working actual staff, working at a booth, doing ADA, helping people check in and get places, I had shifts also that started at 10 a.m. All that being said, the responsibility portion of it can kind of take away that limitless freedom. That kind of takes me right into the second one, which I was gonna say waking up early. Now, it just depends when your shifts are. I'm not a morning person in general, so waking up early is hard for me to begin with, but also like if you're going to stay out late and be partying all night long, you still have to be mindful that you have to wake up early. So either you get less sleep, no sleep, but working on no sleep is also probably not the best idea all the time, and you're forced to, be up and at 'em real early in the morning. And my last con, told you these were short lists, is just missing out on the things that you want to do. Obviously, when you're working an event, you're there to work the event, but also one of the perks is being there for free. And you want to be able to enjoy that experience, live that experience up. But also, a lot of times based on when you're scheduled, you can miss things that you're really looking forward to. You can miss music sets, you can miss workshops. For example, at the last festival I was working staff, I had a shift during the morning time, and that was kind of the time that the more chill stuff was going on. There was workshops and events. I missed out on a vision board, intention setting workshop that I was really looking forward to, just because my shift at the booth happened to be at the same time. Now, this is not to complain by any means. I definitely say you have to move through this with gratitude. If you want to be involved with events like this, you obviously have to show up and do the work. So truthfully, I think the pros really outweigh the cons, so let's jump into those. Kind of like I already mentioned, when you're working a festival, you get in for free. And that's, I feel like, a real pull for a lot of people. And reasons why people want to work a festival in general. That's definitely kind of where it started for me. But after having been really involved, I think that is kind of shifting. I really like just being a part of the community, getting to create the community and giving something valuable to it. But all that to say, you get in free to the festival when you work it. And then you still get to go and see your sets and run around and explore and go to workshops and things when you're not on shift. And that's the coolest part. You're saving money and still getting to have this experience that you were super into, that you want to put yourself in. I also will say one of the biggest pros for me too has been the food. At both the festivals I have worked, I got fed at least once a day. At Great Lakes Flow Retreat, where Grace and I were hosting our workshops, we got dinner each day. So they gave us meal tokens and we got to turn those in one each day. And then at Big Fam, they fed staff 3 times a day. I'm talking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And for me specifically, that's amazing because I am definitely, I was gonna say frugal, but honestly, I'm pretty cheap. And so I like packed very minimal food. I was like, what will I need just to get through the week? Before I knew I was going to get fed, I packed just enough food to like survive for the weekend, just because wherever I can cut corners and save money, I'm gonna do it. So for me, that was a huge plus that knew I would be super nurtured and not just be running on energy drinks and coffee all weekend, but having full meals that nourish me and give me energy and literally help me survive the weekend. Also, the food at both of the occasions were awesome. A lot of times they do catering and sometimes they'll have teams of people cooking. Both of the festivals I've worked, the food was amazing. Lots of vegan options. People are very mindful about like vegetarian and vegan. Also like breakfasts, we had a whole variety: oatmeal, pancakes, eggs, hash browns, sausages, coffee. Like there was a little bit of everything, at least at Big Fam where I got the multiple meals. And then we'd have, burgers, tacos, pastas, just all sorts of things that really kind of cover all the bases. The meals are very intentional in keeping you nourished throughout the weekend. Another pro I'm going to say is the networking and connections that you make. Networking is huge in this industry, and in every industry, people say connections are everything, and unfortunately, they kind of are. You can be so good at something, but if you don't know the right people, you may never have the opportunity that you kind of need or want to step into an industry or a field. And y'all, I've been going to festivals now for 10 years, actually over 10 years, if you consider like Warped Tour back when I was in high school. Like 2026 is my 10-year rave-iversary, and so I have been doing this a long time, and along the way I've met people, and I never really went into it with the intention of like, oh, I'm gonna network with someone at this festival so I can work it. Like I just kind of was like, one day I wanna work festivals. But connections are super important and they can lead to other connections. For example, the way that I ended up working Big Fam on staff this year was just because I know someone who was leading the ADA team, who I met through actually another festival. So you see how that kind of works out? Honestly, connections are so much bigger than just landing a position at a festival as well. It can lead to friendships. It can lead to opportunities outside of this industry. It can lead to meeting someone else that you were really excited to meet, like your favorite DJ or someone else that's big in the industry. Like there's a lot more things than just like meeting someone, having that connection, and then landing a job. Like it really is so much more than that, and it's so much bigger than that. And so I just want to round out this video by giving you kind of some advice for if you want to get into the industry, if you want to be working festivals. And I want you to take this all with a grain of sugar because like I said, I've only done 2 festivals, but in 2 different capacities, and I'm starting to get a better grasp on how it works and what that could look like for you. So first of all, Grace and I, if you haven't seen the videos, we did workshops. We did a dance workshop, a yoga dance fusion workshop, a creative dance flow movement workshop at a flow specific retreat festival. And you know how we got that? We applied. If you're interested in teaching something or you have something to bring to the table in that way, just think of the festivals that you like to go to or research other festivals in the area that will be easy to get to for you. And they likely have applications open. Nowadays, I think more so than before, people are looking for those really community-driven engagement workshops and spaces. And so if you have something to offer, likely there's an application open somewhere. But also keep in mind, Grace and I applied to like 20 different festivals for this year and we got one. And that's okay because we all start somewhere. All of that to say, just be aware of what's going on and the timelines of these festivals. For example, the timeline. We applied to Great Lakes Flow like 5 months before it happened. When you're researching, understand that a lot of things need to be set in stone before the festival, like by a little bit of a long time. So realistically, if you want to host something or bring a workshop or installation or some kind of thing to a festival, I would start looking like in December, researching the festivals that will happen like May through September of next year in the US. On the other side of it, if you don't have specifically something to offer in the case of vending or workshops or whatever, there is typically staff and volunteer applications on the festival websites as well. Volunteering can be anywhere from like ground control and garbage collection and check-ins, and staff usually looks something more like ticketing, will call, and things that are more permanent, such as ADA. Really the only difference I feel like between staff and volunteering typically is if you're paid or not. Full disclosure, I was not paid to work Big Fam. Some of the higher up people on the team of ADA were paid to run the team. Even though I had the staff bracelet and I was technically staff, it was basically volunteering, but you gotta read the fine print of everywhere that you look into. And also it is, I think, one of the best ways to get involved is to start by volunteering. Get a lay of the land, again, get in there and make your connections so that if you want to get paid someday for that work, then you have that basis to build on. It's kind of like you're building your festival resume. Beyond that though, because not always do they have their applications and information on their websites, a lot of places are more like kind of underground than that, or low key. There are a lot of job boards on Facebook. If you look for groups online, a lot of them will be like job boards for Electric Forest, job boards for Ultra. Like there's, that kind of thing that are looking for volunteers as well as paid staff. Also, like your network that already exists goes wider than you think. For example, if you go to a festival and you make some new friends and suddenly you follow each other on Instagram, post on your story, hey, I'm looking to go to and work X festival. Is anyone going? Does anyone have information? And a lot of people very well might. Don't underestimate where you already are in your festival going experience and your festival going journey. I don't typically make these like sit down informational videos. I like to have some like adventure really jam packed in, but I also really am working on staying consistent with this channel. So if anything that I've said here has been helpful for you or insightful for you, definitely hit the subscribe button because I'm working towards the next milestone of 3,000 subscribers. And subscribing is just a free way to support the channel. It really means a lot to me and it helps to push me in the algorithm. I also have channel memberships available, which are not expected but always appreciated. There is a lot coming up soon, both spooky and beyond. The rest of the year is jam-packed with stuff, but what else is new? So make sure you're subscribed, like I said. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you put yourself out there, do some research, and the worst that they can say is no, and keep living large, and I'll catch you on the flip.